November is National Native American Heritage Month, a month set aside to recognize the significant contributions the first Americans have made for our country.
We here at Rocky Mountain Red-Handed would like to do our part and shine a light on a few of the heartbreaking cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women. These women cannot be forgotten, and we hope by sharing their cases, we can help bring them justice and comfort for their loved ones. This is the story of Pepita Redhair from New Mexico.
The Rocky Mountains hold many mysteries.
Millions of people enjoy the natural beauty,
but some come across the hidden dangers.
This is Rocky Mountain Red-Handed.
I'm Becky, here with my lovely friend Melanie.
The stories we share are remembered by some, but forgotten by many.
So let's dive into Rocky Mountain Red-Handed.
Hello, everybody. We hope you're all doing well, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, hello. Hope everyone's happy and healthy out there. Thanks for joining us here.
Rocky Mountain Red-Handed is growing each week, so please keep sharing with friends and family, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us out. And we do have another winner from our t-shirt giveaway.
This is so exciting.
Yeah. So our winner this week is Tammy from Wyoming. So Tammy, I will send you a message. We'll get your size and address and get that in the mail for you.
Tammy, thank you so much for your support. Thank you, Wyoming.
Yes.
So just a reminder, be sure that you are subscribed and follow us on social media. And you can find all those on our link tree. So make sure you're connected with us.
Yep. Before we get started, we'd like to offer you a heads up. Today's story contains details that might be difficult for some to hear. Though we always put great care and respect into each of our cases, the true stories do often explore physical violence, sexual violence, familial violence, suicide ideation, and other content that may be upsetting or triggering to some.
Please take a moment to decide what's best for you. If you or someone you know needs help with emotional or crisis counseling and resources, please dial 988 in the United States.
Ask for help. You are not alone.
So without further delay, let's get to our episode, Mel.
Let's do it. This month, our focus is very specific. Becky said earlier, November is National Native American Heritage Month. We thought it would be a good time to focus our efforts and spotlight cases of Indigenous women in our Rocky Mountain states.
So today we'll be telling you the story of Pepita Redhair from New Mexico. Her episode is simply called Pepita.
Pepita Madeline Redhair was born on August 4th, 1992. Her mother, Anita King, has been her closest friend and confidant throughout her whole life, which is just so sweet. I hope my girls are like that.
I know.
Her older sister, Shelda Livingston, has acted as a second mother to her throughout her life. Pepita also has a brother.
So Pepita was just 5 years old when her family moved onto the Navajo Nation lands to Crown Point, New Mexico. Though she experienced and was surrounded by poverty on the reservation, she was raised surrounded by close family and friends who loved and supported her.
She was known for her adventurous spirit, and she could never sit still for long. She loved to skateboard and was determined to make a name for herself in this life. Right after she graduated high school, she moved to Albuquerque. She wanted to find an industry she loved and build herself a career. By the way, I can't skateboard for the life of me. I will break my neck.
I've never skateboarded. I can barely roller skate.
I've tried. I would break my neck for sure.
Moving away from home was very exciting for her, but also really hard. It's hard to make that move. She was so close to her family, so when she moved away, dozens of text messages were exchanged each and every day. You know, she, her mom, her sister, they were all in constant communication, which I love. My son never responds to any text I ever send them.
He's a boy. It's different.
Oh, but my daughter and I are just back and forth all day long. So just daughters, they're the best.
There. In 2016, while living in Albuquerque, Pepita's path crossed with a man named Nicholas Kay. The young couple had an instant connection and fell in love fast. Within 6 months of dating, Pepita moved in with Nick into his family's home.
So Nick and Pepita are both Indigenous, so they shared those cultural similarities. Anita, Pepita's mom, asked Nick to take really good care of Pepita, and he seemed to really love her and really cherish her. The couple seemed happy, and they were getting very serious pretty quick. Nick vowed to work hard and to provide a good life for Pepita.
Shelda, who was Pepita's older sister, received a phone call from Pepita one day. Pepita asked all about the Navajo customs and traditional Navajo weddings. The couple had started discussing their future, and Shelda could tell that Pepita seemed really excited for what lay ahead in their future.
That's so fun. So that is until Pepita started to share a little of her private life with her mom. Pepita started to show up with bruises and bumps, and I know it's going to be one of those.
So sad.
She finally confessed to her mom, Anita, that Nick had been physically abusive with her lately. She said that his drinking had gone out of control and that, she still loved him, but this was becoming regular in their relationship.
Anita begged Pepita to move home and to get out of this abusive relationship, but unfortunately, so many women, they just get caught up in this cycle of abuse, right? Pepita wanted to stay. She still loved him. She wanted to be with Nick. She had convinced herself that the drinking would subside and that Nick would go back to the old Nick, how he used to.
Nick.
Yeah, the Nick that wouldn't hit her.
Yeah. So many people, and this is men and women, can get caught in that cycle of abuse. They find themselves in abusive relationships, whether, they be emotionally abusive, physically abusive, sexually abusive, and even financially abusive.
Most of us are familiar with emotional abuse, non-physical behavior that is meant to control and isolate a partner.
Yeah, and then, physical abuse, threats or physical violence meant to intimidate and control. That's unfortunately a common type of abuse.
Yeah, and then sexual abuse, when one partner controls the sexual intimacy in the relationship. This often includes non-consensual and forced acts.
And don't forget about financial abuse. This is one that a lot of people haven't really heard of, but they may have experienced in their life, but it's now being defined. This is when a partner controls and extends power by taking control of all the finances, not allowing a partner to access the bank accounts and, monitoring every single penny spent. A lot of people don't realize this is a type of abuse. In fact, I've had a couple people in my life that have had this in their life, and it really is it's a cage that they're in that they don't even realize that they are in.
Yeah, it's very controlling behavior. Yeah.
And I think a lot of these abuses, a lot of them can be happening all at the same time.
Right.
Emotional abuse usually is involved in all of these types of abuse.
Yeah. A lot of time it's really difficult to tell when a behavior goes from healthy to unhealthy and even abusive in a relationship. And usually it's kind of like the frog in the pot of water, right? It just slowly starts to progress. So we wanted to share a few of the most common signs of abuse.
Checking your phone, email, or social media accounts. I can tell you, I never look at my husband's phone, ever.
No, I don't either.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if he was checking mine, I'd be like, what?
Every once in a while I need to get into his phone, but I'm like, hey, can I see your phone?
Yeah.
Find this or whatever.
Yeah.
But never behind his.
Yeah.
Never behind his back. Putting you down frequently, especially in front of others.
Isolation. This is a killer. Yeah, many abusers isolate their partner from, their friends and family. This can be physically isolating them, financially, emotionally. It's when they want to just make sure that they are the only ones influencing their partner.
Extreme jealousy and or insecurity.
Explosive outbursts, temper, mood swings, that type of thing.
And we mean any kind of physical harm.
Any.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Possessiveness and or controlling behavior.
Pressuring you or forcing you to have sex.
Yep. Relationship abuse is all about power and control. It's hard and sometimes impossible to leave a relationship, but we all must remember that abusive partners are not going to change. Their behavior is not going to change.
So your first priority should always be your personal and, of course, any children's safety and safety in the future. A great resource you can find online is thehotline.com. Please, if you find yourself or someone you love in an abusive situation, find the help needed. It really is out there.
It's out there, ready to help. Well, abusive relationships are even more common among Indigenous people, unfortunately. In fact, Indigenous women have about a 50% likelihood to suffer from a domestic violence situation or a physical assault.
Wow.
50%.
That's incredible.
Pepita had called her mom in March of 2020 and asked to come home for a few days. The physical violence had just gotten so bad and so intense that she spent a few days at home with her mama.
On March 24th, 2020, Pepita decided to return to Nick. She asked her mom to drive her back to Albuquerque and drop her off at Nick's house. I'm sure her mom really tried to change her mind, but Pepita was in love and wanted to make things work with Nick.
I can't imagine how her mom felt drunk off. Just breaks my heart. Mother and daughter stopped at McDonald's and ate together for the last time before Anita dropped Pepita off in front of Nick's house on the 1000 block of Clement Street Southwest in Albuquerque.
Pepita opened the car door and turned to her mom. She said, quote, "Mom, I love you. Take care of yourself. Drive home safe."
She got out of the car and shut the door. This is the last time Anita saw her daughter, Pepita.
Let's take a second to say thank you to our sponsors.
Let's do it.
Rocky Mountain Red-Handed is brought to you by Balance of Nature.
I love my Balance of Nature. I take it every morning and it makes me feel so good.
I do not like to eat vegetables, so I take my Balance of Nature to be able to get in the nutrients that I need. Go to balanceofnature.com and use promo code REDHANDED for 35% off your first order.
We call it 3 and 3. I take my 3 capsules of veggies, 3 capsules of fruits, and it gives me all I need. So that's Balance of Nature, promo code REDHANDED. We left off just as Pepita was returning to her abusive relationship with Nick. Anita, her mom, just dropped her off in front of Nick's home. It's a killer, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, heartbreaking. Of course, Anita had no idea that this would be the last time she would see her daughter. She hoped and prayed that all would work out for Pepita and her relationship with Nick. So Anita drove home just like it was any other day.
So the next day, on March 25th, Anita texted her daughter just like any other day, but no response. This was not typical.
March 27th, Anita realized she hadn't received a text back from Pepita, so she tried texting again. No response. She tried Facebook Messenger. No response. She tried calling and no response.
Yeah, this is not normal behavior. Especially, a girl her age, they're glued to their phone.
For sure.
So something was definitely up. Anita finally called Nick to find out where Pepita could be. He claimed to not know where she was at. Nick said that they had gotten in a really big fight and Pepita had just left.
Of course he did.
Yeah, I know, right? Anita knew this did not sound right. There was no way Pepita would have just taken off without contacting her family. Pepita would call Anita or her sister Shelda for the support she needed. I mean, let's pretend there was a really big fight and let's pretend that she did take off. She's going to call her family, hey,
right,
and pick me up. She's just not going to walk away.
Well, and at this point, she wasn't hiding the abuse from her family. It's not like she was trying to keep it a secret. They knew what the situation was. They knew what was going on. So why would she hide it at this point?
That's a great point, Melanie, because, that door was already open. She knew that, hey, when you are ready, we're here to support you.
For sure. Finally, later that day, Anita received a text back from Pepita, or so she thought at first glance, right? Yes, she had received a text back from Pepita's phone, but it wasn't Pepita. So it was from a man who had said that somebody else, another man, had sold him this phone. Why didn't Pepita have her phone?
So many red flags with this. So many red flags. Anita knew something was seriously wrong. So she called Shelda, Pepita's big sister, and, of course, her other daughter. And they decided to call the police. Something was wrong, and they needed to get the police involved ASAP.
Yeah. Pepita's family reached out to Albuquerque Bernalillo Police Department, and everything was taken care of right away. And the family lived happily ever after. Are you serious, Melanie? Of course not.
Of course not.
No, unfortunately, we know how this story goes, right? The police said that Pepita was an adult.
Oh, let me guess. And that she could walk away if she wanted to. And she'll come back, right?
Yeah, she chose to walk away, right? The family was told, quote, she'll just pop up in a week or two. Go home, don't worry.
So frustrating to hear that all the time. And I understand that the cops are overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And they only have so many resources. But every single case, this is what we hear.
Pepita's family just knew something was wrong and they were not going to wait around for the police to take action. So they moved forward with their own investigation.
Which is exactly what I would do. And right now you do the exact same thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Pepita's family started at Central Avenue and San Pedro in Albuquerque. It was an area where Pepita spent a lot of time and she was, friendly with a lot of different people there. So the family split up and they talked to as many people as possible. They just covered the area in flyers. They rode the buses around, which, Pepita rode the bus a lot. So they just talked to everyone on the bus driver, everyone. And they just tried to spread the word that Pepita was missing and if anyone had seen her at all.
Yeah. The neighborhood was covered in missing posters with Pepita's beautiful face on it. The family even put flyers in all of the mailboxes in Nick's neighborhood.
Very smart.
Yes. They spent countless hours just talking to people. Everyone seemed to remember Pepita. She was the girl with the big smile that was so friendly. They all knew who she was.
The family was doing all they could. But now, did you notice the disappearance date?
I know, it's so heartbreaking in 2020, right? Oh.
Yeah, we're talking March 24th, 2020.
Right, like the world has just shut down. We're all just confined to our houses at this point, right?
Literally, I don't know, in our area at least, which is probably pretty similar to New Mexico, it was that third week in March where everything stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So spring of 2020 was not a great time for our planet. Everyone was in quarantine. At that point too, we had no clue what was going on. Everyone was being hyper vigilant.
Yep.
Even the police, the Albuquerque Police Department was not conducting face-to-face investigations or any searches. Many of the officers were out sick, and the entire department was practically shut down.
Plus, there is a well-known history of racism with the Albuquerque Police Department against indigenous people. So not to say there's not fantastic officers out there, we're sure that there are, but the department does have a history of ignoring indigenous crime.
Yeah. The family couldn't help wonder if Pepita was blonde with blue eyes. Would her case have been handled differently?
The family tried turning to the Navajo Nation Police Department, but since Pepita disappeared in Albuquerque, her missing persons case was out of their jurisdiction. Their hands were tied. There's nothing they could do.
Yeah, and side note, one thing I've learned from researching these indigenous cases is the jurisdiction gets really messy.
Right.
Really, really messy. The FBI comes in at certain points. Sometimes it's the local police department on the reservation. Sometimes it is the local normal police department outside the area. Like, for example, Albuquerque, in so many different situations, a lot of times it just kind of gets lost in that jurisdiction mess.
So I was going to ask, in doing your research, who does have jurisdiction? Is it the police department that's on the reservation, or is it?
It depends on where the person was lost, but that's the problem. Is a lot of these cases we don't know where they were abducted, killed, trafficked, anything. A lot of the time I'm complete novice. This is completely new to me, but it seems like the FBI does step in a lot.
Okay.
And take care of it. So
because if something happens to them while they're on the reservation, it is the local reservation police department that would be their jurisdiction.
It seems like that's the place.
Okay. We don't know for sure, guys.
We don't know.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah. But I mean, again, it's really, really messy. Messy situation. Shelda, Pepita's big sister, tried reaching out to the media. Like, the police weren't being a lot of help, so she thought, okay, the media will help us.
Yeah.
And yet, it brought little to no help. The only news the media was covering was the stupid COVID pandemic. The family seemed to be hitting brick walls wherever they turned. The news media just said, no, we are not covering anything but the pandemic right now.
Yeah. Shelda felt like she really had enough. So one day she decided to drive to Nick's house. Nicholas and his family had been zero help up until this point. He refused to help in any way, and he wouldn't take phone calls or visits from Pepita's family. Shelda felt like she knew that Nick was involved, right? Like, in some way, somehow, he knew what had happened.
Yeah. He obviously knows something more, right? So Shelda pulled her car in front of Nick's house, and she got out. She stood there yelling and screaming at the house. Her mind raced. What if Nick was holding Pepita against her will in that home? What if she was hurt inside and her sister could not get to her?
Shelda screamed Pepita's name and told her that she was here for her. She screamed for Nick to come and talk to her. She yelled and pleaded for help from the family whom her sister had loved so much.
The family dogs at Nick's house she said the dogs were just going nuts, barking and pacing the yard. Someone did come to the window and cracked open the blinds, but then walked away, shut the curtains. Nothing. No help. No response.
But obviously someone's home.
Someone's home, and they just...
Though the family believes that Nick is connected to Pepita's disappearance, there's nothing to prove his involvement.
Yeah, Nick has never been convicted of a violent crime, yet there had been numerous calls into 911 due to domestic violence in their home.
Just a few weeks before her disappearance, on February 6th of 2020, police officers responded to a domestic disturbance involving Nick and Pepita.
Yeah, Pepita was hospitalized on February 10th, 2020, and was taken to the Presbyterian Hospital there in Albuquerque due to injuries she sustained during a domestic assault.
On April 19th, 2020, Nick finally filed his own missing persons report for Pepita. Nick was questioned, and he claimed that the couple had had an argument and Pepita left on foot. He claimed he received a text message from Pepita a short time after she left.
Which, I mean, look at that date, April 19th. I wonder what made him finally do his own report a month after she'd been missing.
Yeah, especially because he said he wasn't worried. He wasn't involved in any way with...
Yeah, but a month after her real disappearance.
Yeah.
So anyway, Nick is saying that he did receive a text from Pepita. And he said in the text, she claimed that she was with a guy named Laramie. He was a local homeless man. The couple was friendly with him. Nick reported that Pepita was last seen leaving a house in the area on Clement Southwest and Cabot Southwest in the Albuquerque city.
After Nick's questioning, the Albuquerque Police Department has cleared Nick of any suspicion and do not consider him a suspect, which is just mind-blowing to me. The police never searched or even walked through his home. There's no words.
I don't even know what to say to that. Seriously, the Albuquerque police have cleared him 100% without walking through his home.
And there's no body. We don't know where she is.
With a history of domestic violence.
At least leave him on the suspect list.
It's just crazy.
Person of interest, something. Oh my gosh.
Or question his family. Maybe they have. We don't know that.
Yeah.
In my source notes, I wasn't able to find that out. But, what about his family? Someone has to know something. Pepita's family felt like there must be more to this, Laramie claim. So they'd never heard his name before, but they had the idea to put it up on social media and see what they could find out. Well, it worked. No surprise there, right?
Social media. On July 3rd, Laramie contacted Anita. He told her that he did know Pepita, but he had not seen her in months and he knew nothing about her disappearance. He said he last saw Pepita at his birthday party, which was March 10th, and that was just a couple of weeks before she went missing.
Yeah, look, Laramie said that Pepita had brought him a cupcake and she gave it to him while singing happy birthday. She sounds like an amazing friend.
That's right.
Yeah, and so they stayed at the party and wanted to celebrate his birthday. Later that evening, Nick came by the party and was, no surprise, extremely upset that Pepita had brought the cupcake for Laramie.
The couple started to argue, and Laramie said he saw Nick hit Pepita in the face. Laramie said he immediately left because he didn't want to cause any more problems for Pepita. He said that that was the last time that he had seen Pepita.
Yeah, so Nick is threatened by a cupcake. He sounds like just such a catch.
Oh my gosh.
According to the source material I was able to find, the Albuquerque Police Department never interviewed Laramie. Unfortunately, Laramie passed away and is now deceased.
Albuquerque Police Department has stated that they have done everything they could to properly investigate Pepita Redhair's case. Her case is still considered a missing persons case.
The family did discover that the lead detective for Pepita's case was getting ready to retire in 2020, and many believe that this is why nothing was really done during 2020. The detective had one foot out the door, it sounds like.
Yeah, so it's basically left uninvestigated, right?
That's what some people believe.
There have been a few reported sightings of Pepita in the Albuquerque area. On May 20th, 2020, a sighting came in that Pepita was reportedly at City Park. Shelda, Pepita's sister, dropped what she was doing and drove to this park immediately.
Yeah, she looked around the city park in Albuquerque and no luck. But she thought to herself, there may be more than just one city park, quote unquote city park in Albuquerque. So she Googled City Park in Albuquerque.
Yeah, she looked at the results and noticed it pulled up a hotel in Albuquerque. So she decided to go and check out the hotel.
Okay, so Mel, this is super duper scary, okay? So Shelda arrived at the hotel, and as she pulled in, she saw a man with a bike, like he was standing next to the bike. He was standing at the entrance of the hotel parking lot, and he had a walkie-talkie in his hand, okay? He was dressed in normal clothes, like no uniform, no identification. He's just standing there and like monitoring who's coming in the parking lot.
So it wasn't like security or a hotel employee, right? Because he didn't have a uniform or anything.
The hotel wasn't nice enough for something like that. No, and plus he was like standing next to a bicycle.
So weird. So this guy watched each car that entered the parking lot. Shelda drove into the lot and noticed that there was another guy with a bike and a walkie-talkie watching another area of the parking lot.
Then she saw a third guy. Same thing. Bike with a walkie-talkie in his hand, watching the parking lot, but also standing around a huge row of vans.
Oh,
the type of scary vans, the 15-passenger vans with no windows. Shelda said she saw a huge row of them lined up in that parking lot.
My gosh, this is creepy. Shelda said she noticed that the row of vans had license plates from all over the country. They had no windows except for the black tinted driver and passenger windows. The vans had no logos or no business identification at all.
Shelda realized she was being closely watched and felt like she couldn't do anything but get the heck out of there. She quickly exited the parking lot and drove away as fast as she could.
Oh my gosh. What does that sound like to you, Becky?
Human trafficking, 100%. What about you, Mel?
Oh, yeah. For sure, human trafficking. In fact, Becky and I were talking at the break that one of the first times we hung out, we went to an OUR convention.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done obviously we don't know everything about human trafficking, but we've listened to speakers and different things. And this sounds exactly like that. So scary.
It is so scary.
Let's stop there and take our last break.
Let's do it.
Give your brain the natural nutrients, blood flow, and neurotransmitter support it needs to make the fight with depression an unfair fight.
Get stronger daily with Whole Supplement.
Build momentum each day with the Whole Depression Relief Stack, the 3 targeted daily formulas that will help you feel, enjoy, and progress again.
So, how do you take the whole stack?
1. Wake Up Formula.
Take Wake Up in the morning with a glass of water to kick off your day with motivation and energy. Number 2 is the Daytime Formula.
Take daytime around lunch to ensure you have the focus, mood, and productivity to power through the day.
That sounds like something we all need. Number 3, the Sleep It Off Formula.
Take Sleep It Off about an hour before you plan to go to sleep for amazing rest and brain support that will consistently set you up for better days.
I've experienced depression since I was a teen. I try to do my best to take care of my mental and emotional health and manage my anxiety and depression. But even with medication, I can find myself struggling some days. I started taking Whole Supplement just a couple weeks ago, and I already feel like I am giving my body the armor it needs to win the fight each and every day.
The ingredients in Whole Supplements have been used for hundreds of years. They just haven't been put together this way to help people struggling with depression. There are no proprietary blends and no hidden ingredients in Whole Supplement.
So here's Adam Steer, founder and CEO of Whole Supplement.
I started Whole Supplement with the mission to help others who, like myself, have struggled with finding relief from depression and anxiety. Our number one goal is to empower everyone we can to make meaningful progress every single day.
So now is the time to take care of your emotional and mental health.
During the pre-launch offer, you can receive the entire Whole Depression Relief Stack at 15% off.
Go to wholesupplement.com and use code Rocky Mountain.
Again, go to wholesupplement.com and use coupon code Rocky Mountain.
Simplify your fight with the whole stack from Whole Supplement.
Okay, thank you to our sponsors. So, Shelda just drove to a hotel after getting a tip on the whereabouts of her sister, Pepita. This strange hotel had 3 guys standing, watching over the parking lot, taking notes of each car that's coming in.
They have walkie-talkies, and they're obviously communicating with somebody inside of the hotel.
Which, we think inside the hotel.
Yeah.
Why would you be watching the hotel, right?
Yeah.
And then the vans. Don't forget a huge row of 15-passenger vans. that have no back windows and have a limo tint on the front windows. Something's obviously going on here, right, Mel?
For sure.
Yeah, luckily, Shelda got the heck out of there because, who knows what would have happened to her if she had tried looking around or talking to someone.
So scary. Unfortunately, human trafficking is a major problem in Albuquerque. It is a major city located less than 500 miles from the Mexico border. It also has 2 major interstates that intersect in the city. The cartels have become involved in human trafficking, and unfortunately, they use their significant resources and connections throughout the world to traffic human beings.
This is a nightmare, like a true nightmare. So Pepita's family were able to make contact with Nick, and they were able to pick up all of Pepita's things that were left at his house. The family decided to store each piece of clothing separately inside Ziploc bags, just in case there is evidence available.
I mean, very smart for them. Shelda has taken a piece of Pepita's clothing to a Navajo medicine man. He performed a ceremony in hopes of helping find Pepita. He made a fire with a piece of clothing, let it burn till it reached what the Navajo call tea. It is right before something turns to ash.
Yeah, the medicine man removed the tea and used it to make smoke. By looking into the smoke as it dissipates into the sky, the medicine man can see a scene of the loved one. As he sang and chanted, the medicine man saw Pepita and believes that she is still alive. He told Pepita's family that she is being held in a dark room and that she spends all of her time writing.
I mean, this is just so heartbreaking to not know where she is and to wonder all the time, what is she doing right now? Is she hurting right now? Is she alive? Is she sick? Yeah. New Mexico ranks number 1 in the country for having the highest number of confirmed missing and murdered cases in urban areas involving indigenous people. According to a 2018 report by the Seattle-based Urban Indian Health Institute, Albuquerque has the second highest number of MMIWR cases after Seattle.
Pepita's family has recently experienced a victory, though. Bernalillo County District Attorney Raul Torres has promised to have his office take Pepita's case. Hopefully, his office will see some success.
Man, I hope so. Pepita Redhair was last seen in Albuquerque, New Mexico on March 24th, 2020. She is 5 foot 1 inches tall and 140 pounds. She would be 31 years old today. She is a member of the Navajo Nation.
She has 2 small birthmarks on her chin, and she has several tattoos. Her right arm has a dinosaur, her left forearm has a koi fish, her shoulder has a butterfly, and on her leg, she has the word red hair tattooed on her leg. And she also has a heart with an arrow through it on the inside of her lip.
If you have any information, please contact the Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office at 505-222-1101.
Also, Crime Stoppers is currently offering a $2,000 reward for any information. Crime Stoppers can be reached at 505-843-STOP.
If you or someone you love is involved in human trafficking, contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline as soon as you possibly can. There are people ready to help you. You can contact 888-373-7888, or you can text to the number 233733.
And if you or someone you love is involved in an abusive relationship, get in touch with the hotline. You can call 1-800-799-SAFE, or you can text START at 88788, or you can even chat online at thehotline.org. They also have so many resources available on their website. Go check it out. It is just there to help you.
Yeah, Pepita's family has been and continues to be amazing. They just won't give up.
I know, they need some answers.
I just really hope that Raul Torres and his office are able to make some progress and bring some answers for this poor family.
Yeah. And then also our listeners, please share this episode. Let's make sure that these women are not forgotten. Share. Who knows what can become of that.
Yeah, we have a bunch of listeners in New Mexico, so maybe somebody has seen something or knows something. Keep sharing the episode.
Absolutely. This episode really hit home to me because I have 3 amazing sisters. And just thinking of Shelda standing outside of Nick's family home and yelling and screaming, it just ripped my heart out, because if something happened to my sisters, I would go crazy.
Yeah, you'd do the same thing.
Oh yeah, I think I would probably be in jail, honestly. But no, my heart goes out to her, because we talk about these cases, but these are real women. This is like someone's sister, someone's daughter, or someone's mother. These cases that we talk about, these are real people. And my heart just goes out to Pepita's family, and we are just praying for their strength, and their peace.
Yeah, that was very well said. So I feel like after that, Becky, we really need a very good Rocky Mountain Redemption today.
Really, really good one. And we've got one. In fact, this group we are going to talk about has been involved in searches for Pepita out in the West Desert of Albuquerque. Mel, will you tell us about them?
I will. Four Corners Canine Search and Rescue is a nonprofit that searches for disappeared Native men, women, and children on tribal and surrounding lands. Their mission is to educate, assist, locate, and rescue missing persons on Native American tribal lands and communities.
Yeah, they serve the Navajo Nation, which is almost 28,000 square miles, and it spreads across New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Arizona.
Bernadine Beal is the founder and heads up a team of mostly women and a few men. The entire team of volunteers sacrifice their time and much of the expense of searches while still juggling full-time jobs, school, and parenting. This is just outside of their regular lives.
They are amazing. And let me tell you, I spent way too long researching them. I read a couple articles. Bernadine Beal is like my hero.
She is cool.
Yeah. In 2002, Four Corners received 36 calls for help, 23 of which led to official search parties. It all started in 2019 when Bernadine was volunteering with a search and rescue group in New Mexico. They were helping find lost hikers and climbers with the help of Trigger and Gunny, her 2 well-trained German Shepherd dogs.
Oh my gosh, this is a total tangent, but my cousins have dogs and they were named Trigger and Gunner.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Then she began getting requests for help from indigenous people in the area. Families of the indigenous lost started to turn to Bernadine for the help that they needed. She started to become known as the lady with her dog. So cute. As her phone number circulated around the reservation.
Yeah, not her name. It was just the lady with the dog and her phone number. I love it.
So cute.
Bernadine heads up searches as part of her work at Four Corners, but she also works to educate family members. Searches can be really dangerous. I mean, she coaches them about how much water they need to drink, the kind of clothing they need to wear, on how to stay safe in the desert while searching for their loved one.
She said, quote, "I do not want them to get hurt. I want them to be able to conduct a safe and successful search on their own if I cannot be there for them," end quote. Again, Four Corners has no outside funding. So if you would like to learn more about their group and possibly donate, you can check out 4ck9sar.com.
It's short for Four Corners Canine Search and Rescue, and it was kind of a confusing website name.
Yeah.
So
we'll put it in our show notes as well, so you can find it there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that is your Rocky Mountain Redemption. Bernadine, we love you.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening today. We want to remind you to follow us on our social medias. You can find the link for our link tree in the show notes. We will be doing another giveaway. We're going to keep going with the t-shirts. We're loving it so much. And so I think this next picture will be a picture of me, maybe.
Melanie posted a picture of me making a stupid kissy face. And she asked my permission. I said yes, but we were testing the light on that picture. I want everyone to know that was not intentional.
But she was so excited that I was going to post that one. Yeah.
So don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts.
It really does help us out.
We will be back next week with another story to tell you straight from the Rocky Mountains. So until then,
keep your hands clean.